The Invisible Man is envisioned as a chilling psychological thriller that transforms a classic concept into a modern, emotionally intense cinematic experience. Rather than focusing solely on the science fiction idea of invisibility, the movie uses it as a metaphor for control, abuse, trauma, and the terror of not being believed. The film is grounded, unsettling, and deeply personal, blending horror with psychological drama in a way that feels intimate and disturbingly real. Its tone is tense and claustrophobic, building fear not through constant spectacle but through silence, uncertainty, and the slow erosion of trust. At the center of the story is a woman who escapes an emotionally and psychologically abusive relationship with a brilliant but controlling scientist. Her escape is not portrayed as a moment of triumph, but as the beginning of a new kind of fear. Though she manages to physically leave her partner behind, the emotional scars and lingering sense of surveillance follow her into her new life. The film establishes early on that trauma does not end when the abuse stops. Instead, it reshapes perception, memory, and reality itself. The cast is imagined as tightly focused and grounded, with performances built on restraint rather than exaggeration. The lead role is carried by an actress who delivers a raw, internalized performance, conveying fear, paranoia, and resilience through subtle expressions and body language. Her abuser, though often unseen, is defined through presence rather than screen time. His intelligence, manipulation, and obsession are felt in every frame, making him terrifying even when invisible. Supporting characters, including close friends and family members, serve as emotional anchors while also representing the skepticism and disbelief the protagonist constantly faces. The story begins with a carefully planned escape under the cover of night. Every sound feels amplified, every movement risky. The tension is immediate, placing the audience inside the protagonist's fear. Once she reaches safety, news arrives that her former partner has died under mysterious circumstances, leaving her a significant inheritance. This revelation should bring relief, but instead it sparks unease. The film subtly suggests that control does not always end with death, planting the seed that something is deeply wrong. As the plot unfolds, strange and unexplainable events begin to occur. Objects move without explanation, doors open on their own, and a constant sense of being watched takes hold. The film masterfully plays with empty space, framing rooms and hallways in ways that make the audience question what they are seeing. The invisibility is not flashy or stylized. It is clinical and terrifyingly plausible, making the threat feel close and unavoidable. The protagonist's mental state becomes a central focus. Her past trauma makes it difficult for others to believe her claims, and the film explores how easily victims are dismissed when their experiences cannot be proven. Friends and authorities begin to question her stability, and moments that should feel safe slowly turn hostile. This emotional isolation becomes just as frightening as the invisible threat itself. The invisible antagonist is portrayed as methodical and sadistic. Rather than seeking immediate harm, he manipulates situations to make the protagonist doubt her own sanity. He engineers moments designed to turn others against her, using invisibility as a tool of psychological warfare. The film highlights how power is most dangerous when it operates unseen, unchecked, and unquestioned. As the tension escalates, the story shifts into survival mode. The protagonist begins to fight back, using intelligence, instinct, and resilience rather than brute force. Her transformation from fearful survivor to determined fighter is gradual and believable. The film avoids portraying her as invincible, instead showing how courage can coexist with terror. Every step she takes toward reclaiming control is hard-earned and costly. Midway through the film, the invisibility is no longer just a suspicion but a terrifying reality. The revelation is handled with precision, confirming the protagonist's fears while raising the stakes dramatically. Once the truth is revealed, the danger becomes immediate and relentless. The antagonist's presence escalates from psychological torment to physical violence. Forcing the protagonist into a battle for survival, the movie's action sequences are grounded and chaotic rather than stylized. Fights feel desperate, improvised, and exhausting. The invisibility creates unpredictable movement, making every encounter disorienting and intense. The camera work emphasizes confusion and panic, Placing the audience directly in the protagonist's point of view, themes of control and ownership run throughout the film. The antagonist does not seek invisibility to disappear but to dominate completely. His obsession with control extends beyond physical presence, reflecting real-world patterns of abuse where power is exerted through fear, manipulation, and isolation. The film makes a clear statement about how technology, when placed in the wrong hands, can amplify cruelty rather than innovation. The climax builds toward a confrontation that is both cathartic and morally complex. The protagonist is forced to make a choice between justice and survival, exposing the limitations of traditional systems when dealing with invisible forms of violence. This moment reframes the story, shifting it from pure horror into a commentary on empowerment and agency. In the final act, the film explores the cost of survival. Even as the immediate threat is neutralized, the emotional damage remains. The protagonist emerges not as someone untouched by her experience, but as someone who has reclaimed her voice and autonomy. The ending is deliberately unsettling, refusing to offer complete comfort or closure. Instead, it emphasizes awareness, resilience, and the importance of believing survivors, the imagined release positions, The Invisible Man as a modern reimagining rather than a remake, emphasizing psychological horror over spectacle. Its marketing is envisioned as minimalist and unsettling, focusing on empty spaces, silence, and the idea that danger does not need to be seen to be real. Early promotional material hints at fear without explanation, inviting audiences to question what they cannot see. The trailer is imagined as slow and tension-driven, using long pauses, subtle sound design, and carefully framed shots to create unease. Instead of revealing the threat, it suggests it, relying on implication rather than exposition. Quick flashes of panic, sudden movement, and emotional breakdowns hint at the terror without giving away its nature. Overall, The Invisible Man is imagined as a powerful and haunting thriller that redefines horror through emotional realism. It is not just a story about an unseen monster, but about the terror of being unheard and disbelieved. By blending psychological tension, social commentary, and grounded horror, the film leaves a lasting impact. It challenges audiences to reconsider how fear operates, how power hides, and how survival often requires being seen, heard, and believed.